with Dan Tortora. You are inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, having some fun with us inside of these beautiful Cafe Kubal studios, and I want to thank you for being a part of the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets life. I want to thank you for that, for hanging out here with us inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal with 5 locations all throughout Central New York. You can find them at 3501 James Street, as well as 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, and 208 North Townsend Street. And you could go out and see them as well in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street. So make sure that you do that and spend some time at Cafe Kubal supporting local and getting the chai like I do, or getting your favorite coffee or whatever it may be. Make sure you go out and get it from Cafe Kubal today, including their new chocolate bread, their chocolate banana bread, as well as so much more, including the upstate sandwich, which is my favorite by far. So make sure you go out there and do that today. And I thank you so much for being a part of the show and hanging out with us again inside these Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here for you every Monday through Friday, and very honored that you spend time with us each and every single week. We're here to bring the positivity. We're here to make you think, hopefully, and to, make you laugh a little bit too. So, here to bring the positivity, bring the comedy, and bring the good to your life. To the best of my ability, I will do what I can to uplift you every single day, because that's what it's all about, right? Uplifting each other, helping each other, being there for each other. That is what it's truly all about. So whatever I can do to help you today, I'm proud to do it. I'm happy to do it. And I hope in some way, shape, or form I can do it. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're staying well. And with that being said, welcome truly to Wake Up Call. Here today and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you're hanging out with us on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com, where you're listening. You're watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're tuning into the show, thank you so much for being a part of it. We have an amazing, amazing special that comes to you today. I am more than honored about this special and about what this is going to bring to you. This is extremely, extremely meaningful to me. I'm happy that we got to do it. None of this is possible without all these gentlemen saying yes. So I can honestly tell you that today is about to be one amazing, amazing experience, and it is going to feature inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. I will be featuring Bobby Acosta, Joe Adam, Tim Lester, DeAndre Smith, and Fred Reed will all be joining the show. And folks, this has not, to my knowledge, this has not happened. We have not seen a Zoom call out to the public with all these guys. Some of these guys have not seen each other since they left Syracuse years back. So some of them have not even been in the same room since then. Bobby Acosta, now the head coach of the national team at IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida. We have Joe Adam out in New Hampshire with the St. Anselm team, and with St. Anselm at St. Anselm College, NCAA Division II. He's the head coach of their team, and very proud of him and all the work he's done there. Tim Lester over in the MAC with Western Michigan as their head coach, where he used to play quarterback. He is now the head coach of the team and has been there for the last few seasons. DeAndre Smith is the Texas Tech running backs coach inside of the Big 12, and Fred Reed, since he left Syracuse, has been at Eastern Michigan, and over at Eastern Michigan training the DBs, just like he trained the DBs at Syracuse. So each of these gentlemen are successful. Each of these gentlemen, after leaving Syracuse, have found amazing, amazing paths. And I am so, so proud that, I was literally jogging and I thought to myself, I want to reach out to these guys. And then I thought, why don't I do a thing where I get the band back together? I have good relationships with them. Why don't I try to see if I could do it? And DeAndre Smith, Tim Lester, Fred Reed, Joe Adam, and Bobby Acosta all are here for you today, together on one screen, having one conversation amongst us all. This is something that should brighten your day. If you're a Syracuse fan, you should love seeing these guys back together. If you're a fan of positive people going out there and working their butts off, you should be happy. If you're a fan of people molding young minds in a positive way and in a good way, you should be happy to see this. And in all honesty, if you have a friend anywhere or if you're away from somebody that you care about, this conversation should truly warm your heart, and I hope it does. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and when we come back, we will be featuring each of these gentlemen. Bobby Acosta, Joe Adam, Tim Lester, DeAndre Smith, and Fred Reed were making history today as all of them come back together on one screen at the same time in a reunion of these gentlemen who knew each other. Some of them knew each other before Syracuse, but who all worked together with the Syracuse Orange. They're coming up next in a conversation that you will not want to miss a second of. I can promise you that.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome here to a very special wake-up call with Dan Tortora. We're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. I got the new logo stuff on. I had to get some new stuff made for the company because DeAndre doesn't send things on time. But
I knew you were going to say that.
So I got DeAndre Smith here with me, former running backs coach of Syracuse. There with Texas Tech right now. Very happy to have him. We got Bobby Acosta, who had the tight ends at Syracuse and is now a champion here. The national team, IMG Academy, ranks 1 in the country most recently. We got Joe Adam, who had the offensive line at Syracuse. He's now at St. Anselm. And then we have our guy, Fred Reed, who is here with us today, who had the DBs at Syracuse and has moved on to be with Eastern Michigan. And so I'm very excited. This is the reunion show of a Syracuse staff that was together when I got to meet all you guys. And now you're all over the country successful. So, gentlemen, welcome to this very special reunion.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us. No doubt.
So D, I'm going to go to you first. How's the mail in Texas right now?
How's the mail?
Yeah, how's the mail service, the USPS in Texas right now?
Well, you know what? It's a little slow. The weather is kind of cold, so I think that explains why your gear is delayed. So I keep checking every day. Yeah. You know, I got the app, trying to track it. I don't know what's going on, man.
Joe, up in New Hampshire, we seem to not have any problem with the gear, man. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm going to cover for D here and say he's probably using the old school Pony Express.
There you go.
A horse somewhere, man. It's probably a little bit logged by the snow right now down there.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Joe.
Bobby, since we spoke a few weeks back, your team was only honored as the best in the nation. Nothing big, nothing crazy going on down there in Florida. Just what you can tell me about being at IMG and all of the craziness that's gone on. I mean, living through Corona and then having a champion on your hands down there.
What we did, we just focused on the process of winning every day. And we had great kids, we had a great coaching staff. And it just came together at the right time. I think when we went down to play Duncanville in Texas, that's when we became a team. And, what we focus on is a 5-star character, young man. And, people say, hey, how are you going to deal with a 5-star staff and a 5-star athlete? I'll tell you this, it's probably the best year of coaching I had in 27 years, besides my time in Syracuse. And so you having that there and obviously being excited about everything at IMG. Fred, since you left Syracuse, you've been over at Eastern Michigan. Tell me about what life has been like out there.
It's been pretty good. One thing about the mail, like you mentioned, I park, so they won't drop the mail off if you park too close to the mailbox. So I'm getting notes. So I don't think that's happening in Syracuse. D, that's kind of an excuse for you. Also, D, you say it's kind of cold in Texas. It's about 19 degrees here. And Bobby's outside chilling. So
yeah.
So no, Dan, it's been great. Just being a part of this program, it's good people, and the one thing when I talk to these guys is just. I always harken back to our experience there at Syracuse, and just good people, man. That's what it's all about. So so I'm enjoying it, and I'm surrounded by some good people, and again, that's the main thing.
You talk about some good people. We got another guy that's trying to creep in here on our chat here, Mr. Tim Lester, trying to get him to come in here. There he is. And look at him with the palm trees as well. Well, Bobby, are you guys at the same resort right now?
How about that?
How are we doing, Mr. Lester?
I am doing great, man. I am doing great. I was texting with Bobby yesterday that I'm on the other coast as him. I'm over in Fort Lauderdale. I got a birthday weekend trip. I got Coach Moreland and Coach Esposito and wives down here. It's a lot warmer than it is in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Let me tell you that.
I'm just looking at this and I'm seeing Bobby palm trees. I'm seeing Tim sunglasses. Joe is trapped in the house. I'm hunkered in the studio. Fred's got his winter gear on in the house. I mean, like, it's cold.
What's up, Fred?
Hey, what's up? T. Lester.
How you doing, man? You doing good?
Good. Oh yeah, good, man. No doubt.
Good.
So gentlemen, I kind of just want to let you go at it. I kind of want to sit back because this is a reunion show for you. So Joe, I'm kind of going to let this just kind of go around the thing here. So Joe, talk to whoever you want to talk to, and then we're just going to let the conversation flow. I want to let you all kind of reacquaint with each other because some of you haven't seen each other in years.
So I got to ask. I know D. I mean. You're out in Lubbock, Texas, man. I was looking at this map the other day because I had a team out there that wants to play us. And I'm like, hey, they're by Lubbock, Texas, which is legitimately 4.5 hours from Dallas. Is that right? I mean, you guys are out there, right?
That is correct. We're out there.
So what's it like living in Lubbock, Texas?
You know what? The people are great. For me, it's not a major city by no means. But it's cool. I got a couple places I can go smoke my cigars, and
that's important.
So as long as I can go do that, I'm good. Donovan is here, so I get a chance to see him every day. Awesome. So that's been cool, and but it's actually been good. Just piggyback off what Fred was talking about. We got good people here. and obviously as long as we all been doing it, the staff that you work with makes all the difference in the world, and really just all of us have at some point in time, especially since Coach Tim and I worked together at Purdue after we left Syracuse. And I seen Bobby, I don't know, a year and a half ago at the convention, talked to Fred a couple weeks ago. And then Joe, you and I are always sending pictures of us out smoking cigars,
Trying,
just
man.
relaxing. So,
I can't go outside right now, though, man. I
Right,
can't go outside. Sorry.
but it's always cool, man, when you do work with good people, and especially like the fun we had there, to just kind of reach back and say what's up to everybody. But it's good. I'm enjoying myself. Been knowing Wells for a long time, and our offensive staff is great guys. Defensive guys are great. So that makes it easy to live in a place like Lubbock.
All right, D, so you kind of take it from there, man. I'm going to let you all just round robin talk to each other.
Well, Bobby and I talk, Bobby, obviously he's the head man, but I think he acts like the recruiting coordinator sometimes too, because he working for his kids, and I love it. His energy has not changed, probably even more. He has more energy now. Well, I feel like I'm slowing down a little bit, but no, I'm happy for Bobby, his success, what he's been doing. When I see, I watched Tim, those guys, Western Michigan play, and I got a little with the Ellaby kid. I was like, I remember Ellaby, St. Louis kid, so there's always a connection. And then Fred, he was coaching one of my friends, her son, DB out of St. Louis, and so there's always a connection that you can kind of find with these guys that keeps us connected. But I enjoy, everybody's having some success since we left Syracuse, and this business, man, is hard. It's hard to win games. And it's just good to see everybody still doing their thing.
Bobby, I'm going to let you, now that you got shouted out here, do you have more energy than you had when you were at Syracuse? I mean, I don't know if it's possible because it's like 11 o'clock at night, you got energy. 4 o'clock in the morning, you got energy. I mean, I don't know if I've seen you without it, but have you gotten more energy over time?
It's natural energy now because I stopped the Red Bull and the double shot of the 5 hour. So I had to right? But no, I'm excited about what we're doing. You guys named me the recruiting coordinator at Syracuse, and you guys taught me a lot. And Coach Lester offensively, Coach D. We shared a lot of time. Coach Adam, we shared a lot of time. Coach Fred Reed, we battled every day. With the receivers and corners, and we still have a huge relationship. So I've learned a lot, and I'm taking a lot of what I learned at Syracuse to IMG. And, I haven't changed. I'm the head coach. I call plays. I recruit. And, I have the philosophy is I'm going to be the hardest worker on the staff and be the last one in and the first one in, last one out, just like I did in Syracuse. So, I value our time together. And that's why we still talk a lot,
Well, you talk about calling plays and wearing a bunch of hats. I don't think Lester lets anybody do anything in Western Michigan when it comes to the offense. Right?
That's not true. I have completely changed. I hired my first year here. I hired Kevin Johns, who did a great job with our offense, and then I took it over year 2, and then year 3, our quarterback coach called it. Year 4, Jake Moreland called it this year. Did a heck of a job. We went up like 10 points with him taking it over. Then he's with the Jets now. So he just left. In fact, he's sitting on the other side of the pool for me right now. He just flew in from New York yesterday. But yeah, it's crazy as you get to as you start just trying to evolve. There's so many things that are connected with what we're doing and probably what everybody's doing. You try to take the best of what you learn from different people. I use some of these sayings when I'm talking to my running backs because I can't help it because I remember them, and I make them do a ball presentation. Still, I make my running back coach do it. He's not as good as you at it, but I like it. At least it's a presentation. I'll never forget that, and So yeah, it's funny how you just try to continue to stay up. Like D said, it's a crazy profession, and so you just try to continue to stay on the front edge of things. And it is a small world, small world in coaching, and to follow everybody. And I was texting with Bobby yesterday just about the amount of coaches that he's met at IMG, and he threw a comment out there about Saban, but I can't wait to hear about all the different head coaches that he gets to have conversations with, and little things he can pick up from each one of them. It's a really cool opportunity, I think.
I got to ask, how many of you guys saw the Western Michigan fake spike and then touchdown pass to the left side? Because I remember watching that, and I was sitting on the edge of my bed. You would have thought it was like the NFL championship game, and I'm watching this game, and I'm going, Lester's going to do it. He was down by like 10, and I saw him come back. I saw the onside kick, and I saw the punter and the kicker cross, and all this stuff happen, and then that fake snap there was an awesome play. Guys, did he have little nuances at Syracuse? Did he have little moments that you guys were kind of itching at using? Anybody?
Well, I actually used that for on Monday's practice, Tim. I was just like, we got to be ready, So.
Yeah. I think Joe was the first one that texted me, and he knew the name of it. Joe was like, "You finally ran Spike It." I mean, that was in, oh my Lord, that's been 15 years, and you're just waiting for that one opportunity to use it, But it's funny how long it goes back, and you never. We actually in our last game of the year, we had to kind of use our, we call it Sports Center, where you're just trying to pitch the thing around, and we use that, and now that's on film. It's like we got to come up with another one. We might not use it for another 20 years, but you can't use the same one twice. But it was funny because the people, even people at Elmhurst, Joe, I got so many texts from all our players because we did call it once, Joe, at Elmhurst against Augustana, but the opposing head coach called a timeout before we were able to snap the ball.
Yeah.
And it ended up, winning us a game, which is crazy, So now we got to come up with the next one,
Joe, for you, being out at St. Anselm, you've been there for a bit. Just what you could say about, your experience out there, your time out there, and what your time with these gentlemen, how spending time with them at Syracuse has helped you maybe to excel out at St. Anselm.
Yeah, when I came here, I kind of took over a major rebuild, and really relied on a lot of the guys in this room to kind of give me some tutelage and to give me some experience on, really early on, especially when we weren't going to be successful, about how you define your success, and you may not be able to define it in wins and losses when you're starting a rebuild. But, I stood firm to the culture, and now, fast forward to where we are now, we have great team culture here. We have a product that people definitely value. And we're recruiting across the country. So we've got the Texas pipeline going right now, D. I got 10 guys from Texas coming up here. So we've convinced them to come into the snow and the cold. But, just finding kids that love football and are high academic achievers. And, my quality of life has been tremendous here. And I, like I said, I talk a lot to these guys. And the cool part about being at Syracuse is you take a piece from every single one of them, and, to your point, Tim, where the weekend after that game, I brought in the playbook, and I'm like, guys, here's the real, to my staff, here's the real life application, and there's the video, so keep teaching and keep promoting what we do and those types of things. So it's been fun, obviously a little bit of a lower level, but being a head coach, no different, having to wear a lot of different hats and have a lot of different conversations with a lot of different personalities. So been very blessed that way.
Fred, for you, to be on the screen with all these guys, I'm going to let you start this thing off. Tell me a story about somebody on this screen that we may not know.
Oh man, let me think. Make the Maker's Mark story with after a game with Joe going over his house, and he's like, "You want something?" And he gets this. He said, "Have you had this before?" And I said, "No, I don't believe I have." And so he gets a little bit of that out, and we're sitting around, just chopping it up a little bit.
Yep.
And before you know it, we're about 4 drinks in. You know what I mean? It's like, what time is it? I gotta leave. So Joe turned me on to Maker's Mark. So that's my story. Old Joe Adams.
Bad influence.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, tell me a story about somebody.
You know what? I got to go. I can tell a lot of stories, but like, I'll tell you what, I'll go back to D here. What impresses me about D, like every day, and I don't know about you guys, but I felt like, I'm wearing like, khaki pants, like a shirt, and I'm like, damn, D's got it on for us, man. I mean, like, D's rolling out. Like, I think maybe DeAndre Smith maybe runs Poshmark right now. I couldn't tell you if he's not doubling as the CEO, because he is the best dressed man that I've ever met in my life. And any fashion tip I need, like if I was going out to like a restaurant, or if I was going out to a function, I was like, hey, D, you want to throw me a couple pointers here?
But hey, the thing about that with D is like there's certain people that like they take the cake. So no matter what school you go to, like we went to Purdue afterwards. D was D. Yeah. But like no matter where we go, like there'll be some guy on our team that tries to look the part, and you just look at him and you're like, sorry, buddy, you're not to the level yet. You haven't made it. Right. It doesn't matter how many schools you go to. There'll be some young man or coach that's trying to get in the realm of learning how to dress like D. And there's no one. No one. You're the GOAT in that department. No question.
That's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
I had a buddy, one of our guys was interviewing with one school, and I told my buddy, I said, I guarantee you one of the first things he's going to ask you, like, how many pairs of shoes does DeAndre have? and sure enough, that was the first thing he asked. And I said, yeah, I told you, because every time I see him, I hadn't worked with him in 18 years. And that's always, I was a coach. So I was in corporate America. So I have never gotten away from just getting up every day and putting on clothes. When the pandemic started, everybody thought I was crazy because I got up every single day. I shaved, I put on smell good, and I walked right out of my bedroom, came and sat right here, dressed every day. My laundry bill went up, cleaner's bill went up. Like, what are you doing? I was just so used to it. I got in the routine. So, yeah, I might not be a great coach, but I think I can put my fashion up against a lot of people.
Anyone. Hey, who is the running back? We had a walk-on running back from Detroit. You remember his name?
You're talking about little Jacob.
Jacob. That's right.
He bad. I mean, he tried. He tried to emulate his coach in every which way. And he was wearing the flood tank. I mean, he tried. I give him the most credit of someone that came close.
He was really close. He was close, no doubt.
Because now his dad, his whole family, they were pretty fashionable. Yeah, little Jacob, he did a great job. That's funny you remember that.
Yes, so funny.
Funny. Shoot, yeah. So that's my contribution to the staff. I try to help with fashion tips.
a little bit more than that, but yeah, you definitely did.
Yeah, I think DeAndre, everywhere you go where you've trained a running back, someone took credit for you, but you. So I think that's fair.
There you go.
Michael Carter before Michael Carter was known by anybody. So I mean, I think it's fair to say that you do a little bit in coaching, a little bit.
Well, I try to always say I try to do the best I can with the little I got. So there you go. That is it. I love it. But
D, tell me a story about somebody. I want to hear what you got to say about somebody.
I mean, again, we one thing about like with Lester that I always thought was interesting, the guy, he was a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. I was always kind of impressed with my man. I felt like I was dealing with somebody that could speak 2 different languages at the same time. He can talk, he can speak English, and then he can start speaking French or something like that in the same sentence. And but no, it was just it's really cool being in a meeting room. Just a guy that's so smart, you can appreciate that, and doing it in a way that was easily received. So I was always kind of impressed just with how Lester handled himself, and then going to Purdue, like he said, still the same coach, having a great relationship. You talk about a quarterback. a lot of people didn't know. What was our quarterback name that played with
David
Detroit?
Blau. Yeah, he's in Detroit now.
Yeah. So, came in, did a great job with that. But really, Lester, his smart, his knowledge of the game. Fred was always just so cool. Just Fred is the coolest dude I know. And just laid back, like not in a rush. Like, you got me over here, I'm all over. You got Bobby E all over the place. Fred just chill. Like,
he's a calm.
But he just calm all the time, and of course Bobby, he was just Energizer Bunny. I'm trying to remember when Bobby came in and interviewed, that was like the most energetic interview I ever seen in my life.
He was hitting people. He was hitting people full speed.
He got up, he was showing, he was blocking the chair. He was like, I was like, man, I don't know,
beating the crap out of that chair.
he was, and it was impressive. Just the animation, and he was into it. Did a great job. Obviously, recruiting New Jersey, that was going to be his deal. And of course, we got great players out of there. But just his passion was awesome. And Joe and I, we got along great, working together when you're talking offensive line, running back. So all the memories were all great memories. There's no question about it.
So DeAndre mentioned a bunch of people, but Bobby, I'm going to go to you to tell a story next. But before you tell a story about somebody, please, to the best of your ability, reenact or reimagine when you came in for that job. I want to.
I ripped off my shirt. My tie was off, and I was ready. They looked at me like, "Holy cow! There's no way we're gonna take this guy." But I think I was the only coach thrown off the sidelines. And then when Coach Lester put me in the booth, Chuck Bulla, he used to call plays like this and never looked up. So I was so animated, right? Lester, yes. Lester on top, and Coach Bulla was like, "This guy needs to go," But the one story that kind of sticks with me, big time ACC now, and I go out and rent a car for recruiting, and I was going to go with DeAndre. And I took one of those minis, those little mini coupes. So I pull up, and DeAndre say, "Boy, send that back. We're going to get on a real
car." That's funny.
That's awesome. So, Bobby, tell me a story about somebody.
Well, I think my time there is you make a lot of memories, and we as a staff, offensive staff, Tim Lester allowed me to do the third down menu. So I think one day we had a disagreement, and I'm very passionate. You remember that, Lester?
Yeah, I do.
You're like, just calm down, Bobby. And that really defined my time there because, our guys had our backs. Our coaching staff had our backs. And, it's about people. This profession is about people. And I actually learned a lot from that moment, just to listen. And you don't have to win a conversation. And Coach Lester had that impact on me. So that was a great moment for me.
All right. Well, Lester, you got a story to tell?
I got tons of stories. I would say the one thing about that was interesting about that job, not to go big picture, but we were much like Joe's dealing with right now, or what he did deal with a couple years ago, is like we were taking a team that was in the Big East and moving them into the ACC, which is a monumental jump, and we all knew it. And the recruiting that had to be done, and finding the guys. I mean, D could go anywhere and get somebody. Bobby was owning Jersey. Fred would go and got Chris Slayton. I mean, some dudes coming from the South Side Chicago, that we needed to compete in the league we were in, And I know when we left there offensively, especially because most of other than Fred, like we were young and talented, and it was so much fun to watch, Dungy, all the young kids that we had a chance to learn with, and we had some success, and we had some failures, and having to start the Mahoney against I mean, Zach Mahoney's first two starts were Clemson and LSU.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are his first two starts. Walk-on quarterback, tough as nails. And those were first two starts. Yeah. I mean, he was fifth string going in. And you remember and the one thing, I'm a big believer in trusting the people around you, right? So we have so many smart coaches on the staff I remember going to UCLA, Bobby, and learning, from, that whole system. Who was the third? It was Missouri, right? Was it Missouri?
Yeah.
Missouri staff. Yeah. And that was one of the most fun weekends I've ever been a part of, to sit around and talk shop with other coaches. And I remember that GA in the back of the room that came up with a way to handle 6 in the box first draw, make a dirty call. And everyone kind of looked around like, this dude sitting in the back that hadn't said a word all day just answered the number one issue with one of our favorite plays, And you saw every coach in the room turn and write it down. We still do it to this day, And it was a great idea. And but it was fun to watch everybody, recruit and get guys that we thought could play at that level, and all the while knowing it was an uphill battle. But thinking about some of those games that we went into, and it's never a fun ride home on the bus on some of them. But the way everyone showed up to work every day, we did have a lot of fun. Now, I mean, we in the rooms when our coaches got together, and those young kids that we were playing with, and then they had this. I think they won 10 their senior year, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they won 10. Man, I was so happy. I mean, I still talk to Eric, and I know Trudeau's out there still. A lot of them are still going, and so it's so much fun because you make the impact. Like Bobby said, he hit the nail on the head. It's about people, and the game's the game. It's entertainment to a lot of people, but it's life for us. And so I just remember the people the people we're talking to on this call, and the players that that allowed, that got that thing started to that great season they had a couple years ago.
And to stay with you, Tim, going off of that, 2 questions. First, who do you miss? Like, what player? I know the answer from you and I talking, but what player did you miss the most when you left Syracuse? And then what can you say about Scott Schaefer putting you on the staff?
Obviously, I missed Eric Dungy. I got to go, obviously, work with David Blau. David, I tried to offer at Syracuse, but I couldn't get Scott to pull the trigger on him. And Purdue offered him before we could, but I had a great relationship with him. And but Dungy, there was something special about him. Like he was like Rocky. I remember we all coached him when he was 180 pounds, and then I got to play against him at Western when he was 225 pounds, which is what we all envisioned him being. But for me, I was at a Division III school, and me and Joe were, and we had a great year, and Scott got that job, and the opportunity to go from a Division III program to the ACC was special. It's funny because we all have mentors. You have friends, talking to a bunch of friends, but there's also mentors in coaching, and Coach Schaefer is one of those. He has one of the biggest hearts of any human being you'll ever meet. And he reached down and gave me an opportunity. Obviously, I played against him as a player, and then I got to coach with him at Western Michigan when I was the quarterback coach, and he was the D coordinator. And he has meant so much to me on staff camaraderie and how he treats people, and man, he brought all these people into my life, which has allowed everything to happen down the road. So it was a special time, and met some great people because he had faith in bringing all of us in.
Joe, just what you can say, the player that you missed the most, and to go off of that, and Tim, thank you for that. I know Scott will appreciate that. Joe, what you could say about the player that you missed the most, as well as Scott Schaefer?
Yeah, probably, Rob Trudeau, and I had a conversation with him recently, and, he came out and he's like, Coach, I finally get it. Thanks, man. Yeah, because sometimes hey, it was like, when iron sharpens iron, there's going to be sparks, like I tell everybody. So he's like, Coach, man, I get it now. Like, I finally understand where you're coming from and all the life lessons and the things that you're trying to get me to do. So I tell a story about him pretty much every recruiting cycle that I'm at St. A's about, talented players and having marketplace. And I thought Rob was a talented player, was very strong. Obviously, he was repping, I think, 225, 37, 38 times, which is amazing and is superhuman. But Scott, much like Tim was saying, I work for Scott at Western Michigan, and then working with Tim at Elmhurst and what we brought together, and then becoming the head coach in 2013, and then making that jump. It was like this stardom, and the cool part is that when I got there, I'd heard about Division I level, and what I found was just a bunch of guys like the guys in this room that were didn't have a lot of ego, and they just loved football and they loved people. And that's something that resonates even many years now after we're done with that. Obviously, I talked to Shafe a little bit ago, and extremely loyal, especially loyalty in our business. I think is one of the most important things when you talk about coaches to coaches, because we're trusting each other, and we're battling for our universities and our families, and we're trying to provide a great opportunity to young men that need to have some growth in their life. So I'm just eternally grateful to the guys in here, and I've taken a piece and part of each and everybody, as well as Scott and Missy and Wolf and Elsa and the entire Schaefer family.
Fred, same thing. A player that you missed the most from the Cuse, and your thoughts on Scott.
I'll start with Shafe. The thing I miss about Shafe was just an outstanding person. Tim mentioned that, big-hearted. But the thing I miss about him most is iron sharpens iron, right? And he's a great defensive mind, and just being around him, and just learning a lot of things in terms of his philosophy on secondary play and those things, and how to attack on defense. There's no question that we all learned from him and drew a lot from him from a defensive standpoint. And then players, there'll be two players that I'd say I miss, coaching the secondary, and those guys. There's a bunch of those guys, but you get closer to the guys you recruit. And, Chris Slayton, recruiting him out of Chicago, just to be able to see his development, you know what I mean? And I saw it from afar, but to be a part of it would have been awesome. And then also Chris Frederick, out of Georgia. And both those guys had great careers there. And so, just being a part of that, I miss being a part of that, they're the growth and development, you know what I mean, as players. And so those guys, I think I miss more because I wanted, I saw the potential, you know what I mean? I think we all did. And just wanted to, just be a part of that, in terms of their development and see it. I think that would have been awesome.
And Bobby, coming off of what Fred had to say, to go to you, the player that you missed the most when you look back on Syracuse, and then on top of that, what you think about Scott Schaefer giving you an opportunity to come in there. And I know that you and I talked just a few weeks back about how you still get pumped and you still get energized and you still try to connect to Syracuse and you love that job. And, you at IMG, you want to build that bridge and whatnot. So I know that it meant a lot to you.
I'll start with Scott Schaefer first. He took a chance in me. There was really no connection with Schaefer. And but he really taught me the value of family, and I got really close with Wolfgang. I hired him at Cornell as an intern. I've been trying to hire him the last couple of years. So I talked to Coach Schaefer a lot. I talk to him often, just about life. Wolfgang actually just texted me. So, that relationship is strong there. And, the players, I have to do it as a combo because that room was very entertaining. Grizzly and Steve, remember? It was a party every day in that room.
Yeah.
Grizzly and Steve just invited me to his wedding. So that's a big one. Jamal Costas, he was a lot of work, but you can see it paid off. And then Steve Ishmael, I communicate with those three guys a lot, often. And they shaped me into a wide receivers coach because I was a defensive coach. I think we all have Division III experience or lower level experience. I think it really helped our careers also. And but Syracuse was my dream job. I grew up a Syracuse fan, and when I left, it was closing the book and starting a new chapter. So it was a great experience.
You mentioned those receivers, and fantastic. You come in and working with these guys, and Brisley. I have a couple stories now. Steve, I will never forget Steve, and obviously he's from the state of Florida, and Bobby, I'm sure you can attest to this. I'm sure many of you probably can, but he never hid his faith. He never hid like what he believes in and what matters to him. And I will never forget in the first house that I lived in Syracuse, I was getting ready to pull out of the driveway, and he was on the phone with me, and he said, "You're a brother. You're part of my family, and you're going to stay that way." And he carried that all the way through. Like, he's one of those guys, if he cares about you, if he gave you his word, like, you had it. And I know he's tried to, make it in the NFL and do different things. And I just, on the sideline, I don't know what better hands you could trust at Syracuse than Steve. And then Bobby, what are your thoughts on that?
There was a game against Florida State. I don't know if the guys know this, but, the trainer said that he had to take off his cross because he's going to lose it. Guess what? He didn't take it off, and he lost it. And I was up and down the entire, because he was moping. He was on the sidelines, devastated. I was up and down the sidelines looking for this cross. And, we could never find it. But I just said, hey, you left something there, And that's what the impact that he had on people. Steve would leave something with that person. And whatever conversation he was having with you was the most important conversation. So he was a great kid, and I'm just happy that we still have that relationship.
And I will the Brisley story that I have is they let him come back and do pro day, and so I go over to Brisley and I'm like, Briz, how you doing? And he's always like just kind of coasting smooth. He's like, good, he's just very relaxed. And I come over and he's like, and as we're doing the interview, I got my microphone out and I'm recording this interview, and he's got his phone like this in front of us, and he's like, yo, man, he's like, say hi to Facebook Live. And the whole time we're doing the interview, he's talking on here, and all these people are popping in and talking like that. And he's just on social media talking to me and going back and forth. And he always had a uniqueness to him. And I remember he was the last fax to come in. And I was terrified. I was like, it was like 1:17 when it came in the afternoon. And it finally came in. And he's a guy that I know definitely worked hard for an opportunity and, had some speed back then too, Bobby. What was it like to finally get, because I know he had committed and decommitted to a few places, and then Syracuse was that last place. And when that came in and he finally got to Syracuse, what did that mean to you? Because Brisley is a very unique person. And I know he liked to play the game much more than he wanted the media to ask him about it.
Well, if you know his whole background, he played soccer. That was his sport. And I remember Coach Schaefer said to me, he needs to be the best punt returner in the country. You're his punt return coach. I'm like, I don't know anything about punt return. So I started doing, research on punt returns, putting the two balls. And, he became the best punt returner in the country. And, I think, he's really quiet. He doesn't say much. But, I connected with Brisley when I kind of dug into his life. And I found out that he had his young little boy. And after that, our relationship took off. And we actually still talk about that, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And Brisley, amazing. And congratulations on being able to go to that wedding. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. And you got a few plus ones. You're going to have to figure out how to get us all on the plane, Bobby. So, DeAndre, tell me about the player that I know this answer too. I know this answer because you and I don't know if the guys know this, DeAndre and I lived in the same development out in Baldwinsville. And when we had our conversation before he left, we talked about this, sat on the phone about this, and I believe the father talked to us as well. So I know who your guy is, but I want to hear what you have to say about the player you miss. And then on top of that, what you think about Scott giving you an opportunity.
Well, it's a bunch. So I'm going to give that. It's not just one. And I, like Mo, I hate that I didn't get a chance to develop Mo, but the relationship that I got a chance to build with Mo and Shelly and just that time going back and forth, going into North Carolina and building that relationship, that was a kid I really hate that I didn't get a chance to develop. The guys that I did coach, believe it or not, the guy I probably missed the most and the guy I took a lot of pride in help development as a young man is Devontae McFarland. oh, D-Mac. You know, you talk about that. That's my guy. And for him to trust and then build a relationship. And now he's actually a high school coach. And we spent several hours on the phone, days after day after day, just trying to help, him kind of get his career started and to see what he's doing, the love that he has for his kids. And, that's when you get a kid like that, that's when you say, yeah, I'm doing it for the right reasons, because his development has taken off, and you probably would have never thought that when we first got there. And then the other guy that was a little bit more stubborn, but we have a great relationship, is Jerome Smith. I just actually talked to Jerome yesterday, called him for some advice. And he was an older kid when we came in, so sometimes them guys are stubborn. They don't want to listen. But I know one thing about any player, they'll trust you if they feel like you can help them get better. So when I came in and one of the things I had said to Jerome was like, man, you've been here all this time, you scored 2 touchdowns? I said, that's embarrassing. And it's like, you can't, how are you going to be a big time running back? You had a couple touchdowns in your whole career. So once he had the year that he had and probably he improved, probably not as much as I thought, he needed to as far as coming back for another year. Cause he's like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm out. I was like, man, you probably should come back for one more year, but but he and I, again, had a great relationship. The development of that has been, really kind of cool to kind of have him or be part of his development as he's trying to be a coach. And Schaefer, man, I'm fortunate because when I got out of option football for my 2 years at Indiana State, I went to Northern Illinois. And you talk about, I was working with the who's who of college football, from Scott Schaefer, Pat Narduzzi, Matt Canada, Dan Roshar, Sam Pittman. You name it. We had, and I'm sitting here, I don't know anything. I know option football, and that's it. And I knew how to dress. That's all I can. That's all I can do. I was like, and I tell you, just being around those guys, and the one thing I took from Shea, his players loved him. His relationship with his players, it was unbelievable. And he recruited Chicago, inner city Chicago, and them kids trusted the heck out of Shea. And that was the one thing, and I got a chance to kind of Alva. We had Alva working with us, twin, and he had a brother, and that relationship as a player. And then we had so many great DBs. And I was kind of tight with all those guys, but his relationship with his players, when you sit back and we all talk about, you take a little bit of some things from everybody. I was like, yeah, I like how he can coach them hard and he can get the most out of them. And because he will coach them guys hard. And I learned that, hey, you can still do that and have a relationship with guys.
Hey, D, that option football stuff that so well, that ended up helping us a little bit.
Yeah, it was. It
came out of the closet. We had to dust it off, but yeah, it was key. We needed that. That was huge, and your knowledge of that.
Oh my God! I tell you what, we'll sprinkle it in every place I'm at. We'll sprinkle it in. I'll slide it in some kind of way. And it's like, hey, you might want to think about this. And actually, the end zone system, that Bobby kind of brought when we were out there at UCLA, and I always equate it to triple option football. When you put a guy in conflict, you got to have a read key and you got to have a pitch key. So, it's all numbers games, and that's how it always registered to me. So and we still do it now. Everybody kind of has some form of RPO, and you can tag it whatever run scheme you want to have. But everybody's kind of doing it. So my option background is not the old school, hey, being a true wishbone. As they cleaned it up a little bit, we can go into gun and pistol and all that. But no, that has helped serve me a little bit over the years. But I tell you, Schaefer, man, he, just his relationship, and again, we stayed. This was 20 years ago that we worked together first initially, and we've been tight ever since. And obviously he gave me a great opportunity to come to Syracuse, which was cool to get, got a chance to work with all these guys.
Well,
You know, and before we go to the final piece here, which a lot of you guys know as rapid fire, so we get to put each other on the hot seat. Before we go to that final piece, I have to say a special thanks to Scott Schaefer, because the day that he got raised from defensive coordinator to head coach, I walked down from, he was up by the podium and there's all these people around him. And I went up to him to congratulate him. And I'd only met him face to face one time. I had interviewed him. And you always hope you make a good impression. You always hope that somebody sees the person that you are. I went down there. He looked at me. He grabbed me and gave me a big hug, said, thank you so much. And that was actually the day I met a bunch of you guys. I still remember walking up the stairs and talking to D. And that was the first time we met, because he let all you come out. He let all the assistant coaches come out and meet everybody in the auditorium. But Scott, after that, came out during one of his games, and he was coming down the way, and he gave me a big hug there too. And I was like, I would run through a wall for this guy. I was like, I played basketball my whole life. I was like, I would play DB and kill everybody for Scott Schaefer. I'd be like, I might be in a body bag, but I was going to do everything that I could for Scott. And then the day that he left, I'll never forget his last game. He was outside. I hugged him once. He walked over, hugged some people, came, I hugged him again. We cried, and he said, I love you. And I will never forget that moment. But without him, you guys are not on this screen with me. We don't have the connection, that we have today. And I have to honestly tell you that, and I was saying it off the air a little bit, I gave you guys my word, that when you leave Syracuse, you don't leave my heart, you don't leave me. And it is so good and so refreshing. And I know there's some guys that aren't on the screen right now, the Chuck Bullas and the Clark Lees and whatnots, and I want to shout them out too. But it's a true testament to what I think Syracuse had, because you're all successful, because you've all found landing spots, because you've all moved forward. And I think that speaks volumes. And I got asked on a Pennsylvania radio station, do you think Syracuse, when you guys were all there, it said, do you think Syracuse will ever get back to winning? And I said, see, y'all aren't paying attention. It's already happening, because each and every single one of you was winning on the recruiting trail. And talking to those kids, talking to the 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, when they spoke to me about Lester, about Reed, about Smith, about Acosta, about Adam, about Schaefer, about Lee, about Bulla, and so on and so forth, when they talked to me about Moreland, when they talked to me about you guys, there was a relationship and an honesty and a truth and a belief that they had in you. And I said to that radio station, they've already won on the recruiting trail. You just haven't seen the wins show up on paper yet. So before we go to the last segment, I want to thank you and give you all credit where credit's due. And I know you're humble guys. And I know even when I said it off the air, kind of just said thank you. But you guys deserve it, because I wanted nothing more than success for you all. And it killed me the day that you all left Syracuse. But the fact that we're all here today shows that good people stay around each other, and good people end up getting the right job and getting taken care of. And I'm proud. I'm very proud to know you, and I'm very proud that each and every single one of you has found a spot somewhere in football.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So with that being said, now that I said all the nice stuff, it's time to go to rapid fire. And so with rapid fire, I get to put you on the hot seat. You put me on the hot seat. We're going to go one for one. So Fred, I'm going to start with you. I'll ask you a question, you ask me a question, and then we'll move on from there. So my question for you, Mr. Reed, is if you had to be trapped in a room for a year, if you were in solitary confinement, what's the one song that could help get you through it that you could listen to every day on repeat?
Holy cow. One song.
Wow.
Man, there's so many. I don't know. I'll say, dang, Frankie Beverly and Maze come to mind. Yeah, I think I would have some Maze. I don't know what exact song from Maze, because he has a whole. They have a whole list of them. But let's just go. Man, that's just tough.
I know.
I mean, like a million songs just went through my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hell, that's why they call it the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. Probably go Michael Jackson, Beat It. That's the easiest song I can think of, and they'll keep me up energized for the whole time I'm in that room.
Fair enough. What's your question for me, Fred?
My question for you is, as you look back at it, just give us one thought in terms of, I know you kind of gave some thoughts, about the staff and those type of things. Just one thing that sticks out to you about the staff in particular, even if it's a funny story or whatever.
You guys told me the truth. On the recruiting trail, you guided me. We worked together. I think, doing what I do for a living, I think you all know that, like, I'm media by credential badge, but not by how I act. I do genuinely care about the kids. I care about you guys. And so I function somewhere in this realm of, like, I want to get I want to write different things, but more than that, I want to build relationships. And I think, again, you wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't be here talking to you in this sense of, we built relationships because we were honest. We were real. We talked about things that mattered. I remember Lester gave me something in February and he said, you take this with you and you say nothing until August, because if you say anything, it comes from me. And I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a word about anything. And then July comes around, somebody else gets the story and they throw it out there and they don't care. And they don't care what relationships they burn and what they do. And then I was the 8th person to report the story. And then somebody said, look at Dan Tortora, out there, number 8, as always, he's not first. And that to me, I was like, I can't come out and say, Lester and I were talking about this, because that relationship meant more to me than anything. So, I don't think Tim and I would be talking today if he couldn't trust me. And so I think what I took from your staff is that when I asked you for trust, you gave it to me and I gave it back. And I just, I wanted to be hanging out on a beach on some yacht somewhere years later more than I wanted a story. So Tim are my best bets right now. But no, I think what it comes down to is you build trust on the trail, and you either build it or you break it. And I think a lot of people want that one story to make them famous. And I want the people that I can be friends with when I'm 80 years old. So I think your staff gave me that.
Cool.
For sure. And DeAndre, I'm going to go to you next.
All
right. Talk about your style and your fashion. Who inspired you to dress the way you do?
It's funny. When I was growing up, Bill Cosby had these sweaters, the Cosby sweaters. Fred, I don't know, Joe. Lester, you kind of young. So Lester might not know. Lester young.
I'm zero fashion sense.
Yeah, but no, I guess I kind of always liked his sweaters. They were kind of they stood out, and I kind of had some influences where I went to high school. Guys, pretty sharp dressers, and that was always my thing. When I was a senior, I was best dressed in my class. So it's been something I've just absolutely done my whole life. I don't know any other time I haven't thought about dressing up for something, So it might have started there, and then over the years, working with when I was in college, I worked with this car dealership, and all the guys had tailored suits and pants and shirts and everything. So I kind of got into that. So I was an 18-year-old wearing tailored suits. So it's been in my blood for a long, long time, for sure.
What's your one for me?
Well, of course, I've seen you a couple times, man. You like super duper skinny now. Like, I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Are you doing avocado vodka like my man Tom Brady? What are you doing right now? Like, what's your secret?
I wanted to. My arms and my legs have always been strong, and I had muscle there, but I wanted to tone my stomach and I wanted to get right. So basically, I need to cook home more than I do because I love to cook and it's very therapeutic for me. But I just started walking every day. And to be honest, back in March of last year, like March, April, I went through a tough time, like personally, and I couldn't get my head straight. So I just started walking. And then I was like, healthy mind, healthy body. I hear this all the time, but I never did it. Healthy body, healthy mind, healthy mind, healthy body. So I just started walking, and I just kept with it and kept on it. And I said, if I'm going to eat something that I want to eat, then I need to make sure I take care of myself. I need to tone myself. And I went into to visit my knee doctor because I had a knee injury from years ago. And he's like, your knee looks better than it's looked in like a decade. He goes, what are you doing? I was like, Doc, I'm just walking. I'm just trying to do some like exercise, something every day. And he was like, well, you look the best you've ever looked. And I just saw him a couple of days ago, and he's like, you look the best you ever looked today. And I was like, well, you said that 6 months ago. So if that's the truth, then I'm good. But yeah, man, it's been healthy mind, healthy body. And it's just, it's just been that. So
we lost Lester.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tim had to pop because we killed his battery, but,
right.
but yeah, no, I've just been walking and clearing my mind, talking to God and trying to stay in peace.
There you go. I like it. It's working for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Mr. Adam, my first question for you is, oh man, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Who would you consider to be the biggest inspiration in your life?
Wow. Next to God and my faith, it's my mother. I come from a single parent family. My mom did everything for me growing up. Lived in an apartment. In fact, the first time I ever actually lived in a house was when I moved to Syracuse. I'd never lived in a home. We always lived on an apartment, and my mother sacrificed a lot. She worked some blue collar jobs when I was growing up in high school. And, a lot of the time we'd have a 2-bedroom apartment for me, my mom, and my sister, and my mom would be the one that was slept on the couch. That's a true story. So a lot of the fiber and fabric of who I am and what drives me to try and do better every day, to try to extract the very best out of people, to treat people correctly and treat people right. A lot of it comes from my mom, who kind of was my mom and my dad. My dad passed away when I was 1, so I didn't get a chance to know him. But, as far as, getting me from practice to this and taking care of this and that, Mom did a lot of that stuff. I know I shared that story with some of the guys in this room, but that has been without a doubt my biggest inspiration. And just the words that you get, the material things don't matter. The relationships are what matter. And just the fact that my mother can say that she's proud of the work I've done, that's I've won already. That's all I can tell you.
There you go.
And I'll never forget, Joe, when we talk about like media stuff and whatnot, I remember you said to me one time, you said, people forget who reads stuff and who reads these articles and who sees these things. He goes, my mom, and you said to me, my mom reads this.
Yeah.
And you really like brought it home of like that love and that connection and the fact that like, you live in a profession where, there's people that that are in cubicles every day. And they make mistakes, but nobody stands over them screaming at them, telling them what they did. But in the profession that you guys chose to be in, you're always in a spotlight, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes there's adversity, and you still have families, and you have people that love you, that read this, and that see it, and that hear it, and it plays so much to show your strength, your tough skin because of your mother, but also the fact that you humanized coaching when I talked to you that day even more so, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's something that comes with our profession, and I think there's adversity. I want to speak for everybody. I think there's adversity every day, whether it's administrators, players, media, message boards now, or the keyboard warriors as we call it, who like to say whatever they want to say behind their pseudo, fake screen names. It's a lot easier to have an opinion via Twitter and those types of social media pieces versus actually being in it and actually being in the room with those guys, teaching them different concepts, trying to extract them to get the very best out of them. That's what kind of makes the guys in the group special.
And I appreciate all of that wisdom very much so. What's your question for me, sir?
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you're on a deserted island here and you can get takeout from one place in Syracuse, who are you calling?
Man, you can get me in trouble. I work with a bunch of people.
I know you work with a bunch, so I'll tell you what. I'll allow you to go more than one. But hey, they call it the hot seat for a reason.
I know. So I'm gonna get veal parmesan from Avicoli's. That's for sure. I'm gonna get boneless signature home sauce from the Wildcat Wings. I'm gonna get my orange dream sundae from Carvel DeWitt. I'm gonna get the spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, Cicero, and man, it's like I thought about this. And then I'm gonna get who am I missing? I'm gonna get I'm gonna get my pumpkin spice chai. D knows about it. My pumpkin spice chai from Cafe Kubal.
Yeah.
I want to do that, and I think I'm pretty good if I get all this. And from the Mill House, I'm probably going to get my bee sting pizza that's got honey and chilies on it. So I'm probably, that's probably going to be what I'm taking. I'm going to take like a piece of everything.
Sweet.
To the best of my ability. All right, Bobby. My question for you, Mr. Acosta, is what has been, outside of football, what has been the greatest treasure of your life?
Easy. My kids. Sophia and Aiden. And, this profession, it puts families in all different situations. But they've been my rock. Sophia's 7 going on 27. Aiden does not like football. He's into his computer. He likes talking gigabytes, and he's getting straight A's. So I'm good with that. Maybe one day he'll enjoy the game. But, so that's my constant. That's who I wake up for. That's who I work hard for, my kids. So...
And I appreciate that. And I know when they were at Syracuse, they were so tight. What was it? What did you tell me? Was it 3-1? Is that what they were at the time?
Yeah.
Very, very little. So,
yeah.
I mean, and I look forward to being a dad someday. I know that, many of you have the opportunity to know what it's like to do that. And I can appreciate and respect you build in the future. Bobby, what's your one for me?
All right. The dynamics of our staff. So Scott Schaefer hires you. Which side of the ball are you going to coach and what position?
Oh, man, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think about, shout out to Fred. I think about DBs because, whenever we played pickup games on the concrete in the snow with ice in the end zone, and I loved, going after interceptions and stuff. But I would say if I had to coach any position, quarterback would be a close second. And I actually did help out with quarterback with one of the semi-pro leagues, but I would have to tell you that, D, you're going to be happy. I'd have to coach running backs because I got some type of respect. I love every position. I love every player out there, but I got something about running backs and watching the game and breaking a tackle and, seeing Barry Sanders run into a moving pile and they don't blow the whistle. And I'm like, why didn't they blow the whistle? And then he pops out of it. And Mike Allstott, when he used to just break everybody apart. And there's obviously Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, rest in peace. There's so much about that and excitement about that. And then I love it. I'll never forget this. And this goes back to Joe Adam. Jerome, when he got 1,000 yards, 1,171 to be exact, he stood up there and he had the entire offensive line. They asked him to speak at the press conference. And when he went up, he didn't sit, he stood. And he had all the offensive linemen behind him. And he said, without these guys, I'm nobody. And I respected that wholeheartedly. So, I would get the chance to work with D a little bit, see if I can dress nice. I got my guy Coach Q up here, giving me vest advice and stuff. So I'm gonna get right somehow. But
hey, now Q big time. Q is
another level.
Q big time. He's a whole nother level.
I was asking him if he's singing the national anthem because he's always standing at mid-court during the game. So
now Q can put it together too now, for sure.
Yeah. So for Tim Lester at Western Michigan, as well as Bobby Acosta at IMG Academy, Joe Adam at St. Anselm, DeAndre Smith at Texas Tech, and Fred Reed at Eastern Michigan, I cannot thank you guys enough. I was jogging, to go back to Dee's point, I was jogging and I just had this idea, like, I want to get the band back together, but none of that's possible if you guys didn't say yes. So thank you so much to all of you. And you know, I got your numbers and I'll be in touch, but God bless you. Thank you for your hard work. And thank you for taking a kid from Syracuse, believing something in me and giving me your time, which I know is something that's precious. So I respect you, and I thank you more than anything else that you've given me your time.
Appreciate it. Good seeing you, fellas.
All right.
Great to see you
Take care. All right, bud.
All right.
Stay.
That coming once again from those awesome, awesome gentlemen, Bobby Acosta, Joe Adam, Tim Lester, DeAndre Smith, and Fred Reed, all on the same screen, together, though we're separate. In doing this for the first time this way since, as far as I know, they've been in the room together years ago at Syracuse. I am incredibly impressed and happy with the work that they have done, what they've brought forward, and I am not surprised at all that these gentlemen are successful. I'm not. Because the staff that Scott Schaefer put together was a genuine, kind, hardworking, true, honest, comedic, knowledgeable, wisdom-filled staff that had a lot to offer, and I never really felt like they got their fair shake. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, and when we come back, plenty more to talk about coming off of this awesome conversation. I want to say it's once in a lifetime, but I want to do it again, so I'm hoping that lightning strikes twice. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll continue the conversation, and as always, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, where sports meets life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. I thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and we today got to make history in such an amazing way, and I could not be more happy and more appreciative of these gentlemen. They all mean something to me. They're good guys. They're awesome people. And I definitely appreciate everything that they've been bringing to the table. So for Bobby Acosta, for Joe Adam, for Tim Lester, for DeAndre Smith, and Fred Reed, I am thankful for all that they have brought to the table in their time at Syracuse and beyond that. I think IMG Academy, St. Anselm, Syracuse, in general with all of them in the past, as well as Western Michigan, Texas Tech, the Purdue's of the world, the Utah States of the world, Eastern Michigan, and so on and so forth. Everyone that's gotten to be around these gentlemen, I think, if you really take the time and you get to know them, you have met some incredible people with just big hearts. And it has been it has been so great to be around them and to be able to see them. And there's nothing, it's hard to find the words for really good people, you know what I mean? It's hard to really put it together, but I'll do my best to do that here, as we have the rest of our show today. And here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we thank you for being here on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/livenowdt. Having these guys start this week was perfect. We're coming off of Valentine's Day weekend, and I got nothing but love and respect for these gentlemen. So, but I also want to hit on Valentine's Day. I got a lot of things got a bunch of cars running through my mind today. Valentine's Day should be a reminder. It should almost, I'm going to put it to you like this. Valentine's Day should be like, you have jumper cables in your car, or you should. So some people are like, oh man, are they in the garage? Mine were. They're in the car now. But Valentine's Day is kind of like jumper cables. You hope that you never need them, and you're maybe going to use them, I don't know, once in your life, 3 times in your life, maybe none, but it's there in case you need it, right? It's there to jumpstart you, because Valentine's Day is a holiday where we're all essentially forced to do something, right? You're forced to do something, you're forced to say something, and if you really care about somebody, then you're going to tell them, right? You're going to show them, you're going to tell them every chance you get. And you're not going to hide that. But sometimes people need Valentine's Day to hit a jump start, right? And you got to use your jumper cables. But then next year when Valentine's Day rolls around, you shouldn't need those jumper cables again to remind you. And I've been raised by some really incredibly amazing people. My G-Mama, who lived to be almost 101, she taught me the value of time. She taught me the value of love. She taught me what genuinely matters. And I am incredibly grateful and thankful for the time that she has provided in my life and everything that she has given to me. And now that she's up in heaven watching over, I can only tell you that, God gave me an angel, and then, now that angel's back home where she needed to be. it's great to buy chocolate and it's great to buy flowers and it's great to do that stuff. But, I like when you buy somebody a rose on a random Tuesday. I like when somebody calls you out of the blue just to say hi. I like when people call you because they want to talk to you. Maybe somebody just jumps on a plane and flies somewhere. Maybe somebody sends you something. Maybe somebody writes you a little note. We all like to be thought of. And it's not enough to think of somebody, because if you think of them, that person doesn't know. You got to tell them. And I think that life is so... it can change at any time. And last night I was driving home on Valentine's Day, and there was a car off the road. And I know exactly where it was. I can see it. And there was 2 cop cars, and they were blocking the highway. And this is like a major highway that I take all the time. And there's 2 cop cars blocking it, and there's this car off the road, and I think there was a tow truck there. And as I drove by, it looked like there was somebody leaning over the steering wheel. And as I drove farther, an ambulance came flying by. And I thought to myself, well, I think I saw somebody in the car, and now that ambulance is coming, I probably did. And I kept thinking to myself, what happened to this person? Did they fall asleep? Were they drunk? Were they having a bad day? Did they look down? Were they using their phone? Were they stressed? And it just hit me with, life is so precious and it's so good that we cannot and should not appreciate that time, And I think that, life kind of hits us all with different adversity. And this week, just to kind of foreshadow, you're going to really hear some stories this week. And they're different. These stories are different. And you're really going to hear, the ugly. You're going to hear a story about someone that went through cancer. And adversity before that and adversity after that. So there's some really, really... and Jim Durin started off the month for us, a quadriplegic. Someone who didn't deserve any of what he got, but he got it. And, I think, to me, the beautiful thing about life is that we all have a chance to make it our own, to make it what we want to make it, right? And so coming off of Valentine's Day and coming off of seeing that person on the side of the road, and it shakes my chest, is if there's something worth fighting for in your life, you got to fight for it. We can't help circumstances. We all have circumstances. It's kind of funny, not funny, but it's like we're all travel restricted, right? Like, we can go anywhere within our own state, but if we go to another state, it's 3 days. If we go to this state, it's 14 days. If we go to this state, it's no days. If we go in a car, then it's nothing. But if we go on a plane, then it's this. And it doesn't make any sense. And I think that we've all been really forced to think about what matters to us and what we care about in our lives. And seeing that person on the side of the road, all I could think about was, I'm going to go after whatever I care about. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how difficult it is. I don't care how much it's going to test my mettle. I'm going to go after what I care about in my life. I'm going to do it. I have to. You know, and so Valentine's Day in a unique way was my reminder yesterday, but not because of buying cards and candy. It was because of seeing that car, making me say, if somebody's worth fighting for, you fight for them. If a job's worth going after, you go after it. You know, if you want to live somewhere. How many times have we done that? And Dale Shackelford was on the show here this month talking about this too. Like, he said he's down in Florida with his girlfriend Crystal, and they're talking, and they come home, and he's like, I want to live in Florida. You want to live in Florida. What are we doing? You know, like, what are we doing? And that's the truth. That's reality. You know? And then they moved down to Florida. That was it. They came home, they packed their bags, they left. Because we all talk about what we want, but, you know, I've seen people talk themselves into 80 years old and they still want the same stuff. And I think, you know, Valentine's Day to me was not about cards and candy. It was about be on the phone with who you want to be on the phone with, talk to who you want to talk to, fight for what matters to you, appreciate the blessings you have, go home and hug your dog, you know, call your mom, call your dad, be good to your kids, and just realize that we've all gone through something. You know, there's somebody on Valentine's Day that was heartbroken yesterday. Heartbroken because the person they love passed away. You know what I mean? And I would rather give it all to something I care about and fail than succeed in doing nothing or succeed in settling. You know? Because the reality of it all is we could lose anybody at any time, but not now. Not here. Not in this moment. And, you know, that really made me think. It really made me think yesterday. What was this year supposed to teach us? What were we supposed to do with it? Why did God allow it to happen? You know, isn't that the question that people always say is, why did God let this happen? And I think it's because we're supposed to learn from it. You know, we're supposed to appreciate the time we have, appreciate the people we have, appreciate the blessings that come into our lives. There are circumstances to everything in life. There are people that fall in love and then the person gets cancer a year later. And what do? You know, there's people that get their dream job and then Corona happens and the place closes and they got to fire everybody. You know, I think about the people that got hired at the beginning of the pandemic and never even got to work the job. You know, and I am so blessed that I get to own my own company. You know, I shouldn't say that I get to. I mean, I worked for this. It's not like somebody handed it to me. I handed it to myself. Well, God handed it to me is how I look at it. But I tried to do what I could. And, you know, you see that and you really, really live that, right? And there's people that try to mess with your day all the time. You know, I think Valentine's Day is a reminder to stop and to love, but you should do that every day. If you care about somebody, you should go to the ends of the earth to make that work. You should give it all you got. If you care about somebody, you care about a job, you want to live in a house, you want to live in a certain place, heck, if you want to go on vacation, right? I didn't go anywhere last year. I'm taking myself somewhere this year because I want to. I believe I can do it safely, and I'm going to do it. And I don't think that anything should hold you back, because seeing that person in the car yesterday, I thought to myself, what if they didn't tell the person they loved that they love them? What if they didn't go after the job they wanted? What if they weren't living where they wanted to live? What if they were on the way to finally do the thing that they had been thinking about doing for months, and they just never got off the couch to do it? And now it's over. Or God willing, they're alive and it's not over, but now they're in a hospital bed. That car last night told me, if something is important to you, it doesn't matter what it is, where it is, how it is, when it is, who it is, you fight for it. And you don't owe anybody any explanation. I'm 35 years old. I don't know where 21 to 35 went, but it's here. And I've learned a lot. And I am so grateful for what I've learned, and I'm still learning every single day. And the biggest message that God sent me was that car. It wasn't a piece of candy, it was that car. It was, if something matters to you, then let it matter and do something about it. If you want to live in Florida and you live in Syracuse, New York, go live in Florida. It's always going to snow here. It's probably not going to snow there. You know what I mean? And if if your family lives up in Utica and you've always wanted to be in Utica, then be in Utica. I love that Dale and Crystal got together and said to each other, we had such a great time in Florida, we want to go down there. And now they're down there. And think about what happened. They made a massive jump. They made a giant leap, hoping to God they could fly. And now they got a dog. They're on the beach. They got a great place. And Dale's back coaching again. Maybe Dale would have never coached again in that capacity if not for going down there. So I would tell you to seize the day. Because what other advice can I give you? I never knew I'd work for Disney, but I have. I never knew I'd live in Florida, but I have. I never knew I'd meet people from all over the world and be arm to arm with them from Mexico and Brazil and all that, but I have. I never knew I'd start my own business at 26. I thought I would be 30, but I did. And I always hoped that these gentlemen, to bring it all back, I always hoped that these gentlemen wouldn't forget me, and they didn't. Blessings are amazing. They are incredible. And they deserve to be treated so well. Because when God throws you a bone, we always ask for a bone. But we don't always see him when he throws them. And I hope I'm never a car in a ditch someday. But God forbid I am. I hope I did everything I possibly could before I got there. We never know what life is going to be like. And, Corona, when I saw this coming on in the beginning, I was thinking to myself, is this the end of the world? Is this it? And then I started thinking, am I doing everything I want to do? Am I chasing everything I want to chase? Am I, around the people I want to be around? So make sure that you give it all you got, because you only got one shot to give it. And I genuinely hope that you don't need a reminder. But if you do, they're all around you. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back on Wake Up Call in just a moment.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicoles.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoles, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you get your way over to the Millhouse Market, and before you do that, download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store so you can get everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads to desserts, as well as their salads, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, their brick oven pizzas, and their sandwiches that are named after the families that helped to settle what is today's Pulaski, which is truly incredible. You can call for more information at 315-298-4104. That's 315-298-4104 to make sure that you do that. They have incredible food there, and what they've been, I mean, they just did surf and turf. I mean, there is nothing off the table at the Millhouse Market when it comes to consistently creating some incredible things. And for Valentine's Day weekend, the sweets were absolutely very well done and put together. Looked too good to eat, but then also you eat them because, I mean, obviously you have to. So head out to the Millhouse Market, show support for a local company. And of course, their general store has local products from local companies. They have their bistro that's open on the weekend, and they have Tuesday through Sunday their drive-up window that is available for you to grab your food and go. They're keeping it easy, keeping it simple, and helping us to have what we need at a time where things have seemed upside down. The Millhouse Market has helped keep us right side up. And you can go see them at 3790 New York, 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being here with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, located for you in 5 locations. They are in 4 in Syracuse and 1 in Manlius. In Syracuse, you can find them at 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street. You can also find them out in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street. So I want to thank them for all that they do and for staying open through this time, and for you staying with them through this time, which has been difficult for companies all over the world. So I do appreciate that so very much. MonPazPopcorn.com bringing you What's Poppin'. Today featured our special On Screen with Bobby Acosta, Joe Adam, Tim Lester, DeAndre Smith, and Fred Reed, all coming together for the first time that we have, I mean, really, since they left Syracuse, this is the first time we've seen them all together, to my knowledge. And a beautiful thing that we got to do here today, and I appreciate that so very much. Right before the fast break, we were talking about, you know, just Valentine's Day and how it needs to be a jumper cable, but not reality. I mean, you should celebrate the people that you love every day, whether it's a significant other, your child, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you know, aunts and uncles, whoever it may be, your neighbors, your coworkers, you know, whoever it may be, you know, you got to spread. And I got a lot of people that I really genuinely, you know, appreciate in my life that have become so awesome. So, you know, I think let Valentine's Day be a jumper cable, but I'm hoping that you do nice things for people every day. I'm hoping you tell people that you care about them every day. And I hope that you do cool surprises and nice things that let people know that you care. Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants, right? They want to know that they're thought of, and they want to know that they matter. So it's really as simple as that. You know, I know my mom, you know, appreciates a card. I know that, you know, my dad appreciated just a drive yesterday. You know, I know that some of my buddies appreciated just catching up and seeing how we're doing. You know, so, I mean, take the time to take the time and do it. Do it as often as you can. You know, you may not be able to see your mom every day. You may not be able to see your grandparents, you know, every month even. But you can call them. You know, you can message people. You can reach out and get in touch. The world that we live in today, there's really no excuse, from video chatting to text messaging to calling to going to see somebody. There's really no excuse, you know what I mean, to not be around. And I think that we've all had to get pretty unique in how we do it. I want to shout out the couples that they're living in Canada and living in the United States, and that they're like right by the water, and that they literally got binoculars and they wave to each other and they're looking across. I mean, you know, that's, people get creative in these times, and you know, people are like magnets. You know, you can't keep you know, magnets away from each other that want to be around each other. And I think that the stories that have been told about people connecting with, you know, staying around their parents, I'll never forget at the beginning of Corona, there was a picture of a grandfather that wanted to meet his grandchild. And I know how important grandfathers are. I mean, you know, mine passed away when I was 6, and not that they weren't important before then, but it really hit home when I'm 6 years old and they passed away. You know, my grandparents, precious, the time that I had with them. And so I saw this picture and it got me really like kind of worked up, because his grandson had just been born. I think it was his grandson. And so the father's holding the baby, and and I think the mom was in the room too, and the grandpa is in the window standing outside looking at his grandchild. And I just thought to myself, like, let's not, let's not bawl out, crying right now. But because I remember all those moments with my grandfathers. And so I think people have gotten so creative. And, they send care packages, they send cards, they wave to each other with binoculars, they stand outside of windows, probably fly planes and put signs on them, all kinds of stuff, and I think that is such a beautiful thing and such a really cool thing that we get to see stuff like that happen. And, I Valentine's Day is a jumper cable, but every day should matter. And whether you're like me and you see a car on the side of the road, or you're talking to someone that, makes you think of something, or whatever it may be, take the time to take the time. I had the idea this weekend when I was jogging, like I said, to have Bobby and Joe and Tim and DeAndre and Fred on. But none of it's possible without them saying yes, and none of it's possible without the idea. And if I had the idea and I thought of them, but I didn't tell them I was thinking of them, then what good would it have done for anybody? This would have never existed. So I think coming off of Valentine's Day, which some people love the holiday and some people don't really like the holiday, and some people are somewhere in between, I think that the best advice I can give you coming off of Valentine's Day is, when you care about something, care about it with everything you got, give it all you got, and give it your best shot, because life could end in a heartbeat. And as we all know in this world, life can change in an instant. And I think that it is very humbling what's happened this past year to teach us that, growing up as a kid, crossing the Canadian border was like it was just like we did it all the time, right? Hey, you want to go to Niagara Falls? Sure. You know what I mean? So it was so easy. My biggest thing going to Toronto was like, can I afford the hotel, and do I want to pay $100 for the tickets, because the tickets used to be $30? I remember saying to myself in 2019, I really want to get up to Toronto. And then I didn't. And then I was like, well, I'll just go in 2020. I'll just go next year. It's not a big deal. And little did I know. So, you never know what's going to happen. And I think if you don't know that after this year, you're paying no attention to anything. Life happens, and you got to just enjoy the moments that you got. Take a deep breath. You're at the free throw line, and you got to try and make some free throws. And that's what it comes down to. These gentlemen were faced with adversity 7 years ago at Syracuse. And now you have Bobby building success at IMG, Joe building success at St. Anselm, DeAndre building success at Texas Tech, Fred building success at Eastern Michigan, Tim building success at Western Michigan. These guys never quit, never stopped. And you could tell that they care about each other. You could tell they care about their lives. You could tell they care about their dreams. You could tell that they fight like heck to get what they want. And they all care about the kids. So I couldn't start off this week any better with any better group of people. And if I'm going to make history on a Zoom call, let it be with these gentlemen, because I've respected them the day I met them, and I respect them now. And I really miss them here. But just as life has shown us, sometimes when you can't be here, you can somehow be together while you're separate. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, DeAndre. And thank you, Fred, for helping this world to feel just a little bit smaller, a little bit closer, and a little bit better. I'll talk with you all this week. I appreciate you so much. And as always, God bless.